Skullgirls dropped an update where they removed/changed content, and a lot of people, including myself, aren't happy about that. I didn't review bomb the game or anything, but I did get a little curious. I see a post here claiming that Mike Z was innocent, another saying that he was a victim. Then my curiosity peaked. I see a thread by Fullscreen Boss Fight covering the Mike Z controversy, and the conclusion I came to is not pretty. This shit will never not be funny, and I stand by it. He was gearing up for this joke, and I gotta say, I am proud. It was a case of horrible timing. You gotta think about it. George Floyd just died probably not too long ago before this joke was even made, so the only thing Mike is really guilty of here is making a joke in poor taste at the worst possible time. He apologized. That should have been the end of it. He could have been creepy and demeaning to you in your DMs. Just a thought.
Time to operate.
Huh? Liar, liar, plants for hire.
Bunny, you a lying ass bitch. You telling me people looked at the full conversation and not even questioned how she framed this? She's acting like Mike was being intentionally creepy when it's just Mike being cringe. Notice not how one time did she express if she were uncomfortable, because it's not like he's keeping you there, especially when it's a conversation you started. To me, it seems like you were perfectly fine with any and all comments coming your way. You have the choice to end the conversation. You're an adult. All you had to do was say, hey Mike, what you're saying is making me uncomfortable and I don't appreciate it. Or, just a thought, do this. It's that easy. What Bunny did was have an awkward conversation with someone only to claim the other side was being creepy. You started the conversation thanking Mike Z for adding BDSM Yuri to Skullgirls.
Who the starts a conversation like that? I just sat down.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh man, what is that picture, bro? Why is he smiling like that?
You gotta be ashamed of yourself, nigga. Real talk.
Mike is one of my best/closest friends to me, especially knowing what he values and his feelings are. So it's only natural for me to forgive him more easily than others, especially when he holds himself accountable. You don't have to do the same. It's perfectly fine.
As his friend, I will ensure he makes good. He will make.
As his friend, I will ensure he makes good of his promises that you can count on. He's also the same person that advocated for years to help with one of the community members to get an update for their NPC after they transitioned as well. If you know my beliefs, then you'll know why I keep certain people close. I can forgive him for a mistake, not a habit. I know, I'm just personally glad we got a real apology and not a sorry I offended you. I may be upset with him, but I also know he will grow and learn from this.
3 weeks later.
His actions don't speak on behalf of the Skullgirls community as a whole. Nobody likes what he did here. His actions do not reflect the integrity of the Skullgirls community at all, and we will be sure consequences are carried out appropriately. I really did look up to him as a close friend and a mentor, and even someone that pretty much saved my life, but even with all that help, I have to protect my community, even if it's from people like him. In a matter of 3 weeks, Sonicfox showed how loyal he was to one of his close friends that pretty much saved his life by throwing him under the bus once BunnyAyu came out with her allegations, essentially creating this meme, but in reverse. According to Click Again, an ex-employee at Lab Zero, Mike created unsafe work environments for everyone at the company. Systemic abuse, lack of empathy, refusing to accept feedback, not showing a willingness to change were stated as patterns in their tweet, never realizing how broad his actions were. The choice to force Mike Z out of Lab Zero came from seeing his interactions with Bunny. Approaching a boss or coworker can be difficult, but it'd be even harder for someone such as Mike to understand because he's autistic.
I've always been described with the phrase, Mike being Mike. I've always felt different and have had a hard time understanding and relating to others. I am often misinterpreted in group settings, particularly at work, and have been told that I come off as cold or insensitive. I have great difficulty with communication, social relationships, and social situations. For one of the characters Lab Zero was introducing, I wrote a backstory that was heavily based on my childhood. The public response was immediate. We got many emails and comments relating to the characters being on the autism spectrum. I started examining autism spectrum disorder more closely myself. Once they resumed service after COVID, I contacted the Family Guidance and Therapy Center in California and participated in a comprehensive diagnostic evaluation. Following this process, in November 2020, my doctors formally diagnosed me with autism spectrum disorder as severity level 1, an adjustment disorder.
I think it's understandable how being on the spectrum can affect how others see you when it comes to social interactions. I don't think it's fair to Mike being branded as cold or insensitive when it's not really his fault that he comes off that way. Now, let me be clear, his autism is not an excuse for his behavior at Lab Zero or with other people. If he was abusive, creepy, or whatever you thought he was, fine, but you can't gloss over the fact that he's on the spectrum. It's an important factor to this entire case, especially if you don't know how differently we can act. I have no clue why people think he's using it as an excuse, because they're acting like his response to both controversies was, "Sorry, I'm autistic." What else do you want from him? One of the traits I remember hearing about when I was first diagnosed is having a lack of empathy. For me specifically, someone crying around me will make me want to exit that area ASAP. It's not that I don't care or think that being upset is a bad thing. I just don't know how to respond to it, nor do I want to listen and be uncomfortable. With that being said, Assassination Classroom. I Want to Eat Your Pancreas, the very same movie my friends told me would make me cry. My Fourth Funeral. This entire situation was really ugly. The current narrative is that the community and LZ banded together in order to force Mike out of the company, making sure that he was held accountable for his inappropriate behavior with his fans and his employees at the workplace. I don't think that's true. I see an autistic man taken advantage of via his lack of social skills. The people he surrounded himself with helped him make the vision of his fighting game come true, but then, for some unknown reason, quickly ruined his life for making mistakes and being socially awkward. Mike Z wanted to make a fighting game that everyone could enjoy, and he did just that. Skullgirls is one of the most fun, responsive fighting games I've ever played. I've been playing Skullgirls since it first dropped in 2012. The game pulled me in, sporting an all-female cast with stunning animations for a fighting game that probably hasn't been replicated ever since. Philia was cool and all, but my eyes were on Cerebella. When I saw that hat with Hulk arms, I knew I had to play her. Time passes, and they get around to the release of Big Band. I downloaded him without hesitation. Bella Band was my first team in Skullgirls. Then, everything changed when they announced Beowulf. This nigga had everything in the character I didn't even know I wanted. Armored normals, a final fight grab, multiple grab enders, references to Darkstalkers and wrestling, a mechanic called hype that he can build by either taunting or holding light or medium punch, and the medium punch drops the mic. I even watched
voice
reel for Beowulf when he was going for an Irish accent. Once Beowulf came out, I completely dropped Cerebella and added him to my team. Beo Band is my team to this very day. Carol, aka Painwheel, is a girl whose life got ripped away from Lab Zero. Infused with the blood of the Skullgirl, Carol is forced to obey Dr. Braindrain and Valentine on orders to defeat the Skullgirl and retrieve the Skull Heart. She ends up disobeying orders, fighting against the very same people that ruined her life, even if it didn't make everything go back to normal.
It's over. I can go home. Mom? Dad? It's me!
Monster! Get out of here, monster!
I thought the police were supposed to catch the bad guys. It doesn't work like that. In New Meridian, my squad was on a take from the Medici Mafia. You can guess what happened next. They left me for dead. They thought I was gone.
Happy birthday, Selene. Time to blow out your candles. Don't forget to make a wish.
How many hours you have in Skullgirls shouldn't even be a factor when I have the experience to tell you that what Future Club is doing to Skullgirls isn't right. I'm gonna be honest. You don't play Skullgirls if your arguments are, they removed CP from Skullgirls, based, or you're mad because you can't look at 16-year-old panties. Let's be honest here. If there were any CP, it wouldn't be on Steam, Xbox 360, PS3, PS4, PS Vita, Switch. You don't play Skullgirls, nor do you know what you're talking about if those are your only two arguments as to why fans are upset about this new update. We're upset because Future Club is changing content from a 10-year-old game that we paid for that barely anybody plays or talks about besides fucking the Kill Sage. It's not getting a big revival, and it's not even popular anymore. Why does Fukuwa keep her pick in her burst animation, but Philia loses hers? Can white people not have picks in their afro? Why did Big Band, who's a walking homage to RoboCop, get this memorable scene ripped from his story and replaced with a garbage interpretation? You don't want to expose your audience to police brutality, or was it because of racial sensitivity? The Egrets, the military force Parasol's in charge of, apparently resembled Nazis, which is something I never thought of even when I first bought the game. But to Future Club, it was such an issue that they removed their armbands and changed any and all imagery that resembles Nazis both in-game and concept art. You changed concept art. It's no longer a concept anymore. You hired Zone, a very popular artist that everyone should know by now, and even gave Squiggly her colors. Who was the loud minority that complained so much? Who complained about racial sensitivity in fucking Skullgirls? Big Band is the only black character that makes references about being black in his Saxploitation voice pack, but now some of those lines are gone too. Having Steam hide your reviews and tag them as off topic won't make people forget. Liking tweets that call your fan base creeps are gonna make people hate you even more, and fans like me won't want to support you in the future if you continue to alienate the fans that have been with this game since day one. To BunnyAyu, you're a lying e-thought scumbag that blatantly lied to everybody, including the combo queens, and your only talent is having big tits. When people watch this and find out that you did lie, I just want to thank you so much for making it just a little bit harder for actual victims of sexual harassment to come out about their stories. Way to go, Bunny. You did such a great job. Sonicfox. Was your friendship with Mike real, or were you just buddy-buddy with the man because you got a cameo in Skullgirls that people don't even like? I find it hard to believe you're protecting the community from people like Mike because real friends hear each other out first. How you thought anything Mike did was a habit is beyond me. I might not be much of a sports guy, but at least I know in baseball you get 3 strikes before you're out. You're probably wondering, PK, what about the twit longer? Fuck the twit longer! If you think Sonicfox cared about the relationship he had with Mike, what makes you think he would care about anything he wrote in the twit longer? And you know what's worse? I'm starting to think this comment maybe had some foreshadowing. I don't plan on changing minds with this video, but if it does, that's a good thing. I just wanted to throw my own 2 cents out there because this entire controversy that shouldn't even be a thing just bothered me. Shout outs to Nikolai for helping me with the audio because God knows I would have sounded like this instead for the entire video. I appreciate it. As a final message to Mike Z, if you're watching this, I just want you to know that you ain't do shit wrong, bro. At least in terms of the two controversies, because I can't say for sure if you were a bad boss or not. The only people who knew what happened at work were people that worked at Lab Zero. As far as I'm concerned, the George Floyd joke and the BunnyAyu stuff, I don't care. You did nothing wrong in terms of that, bro. Everybody's just tripping. You know how Twitter is, bro. You alright, white boy. You good in my book. Anyways, hashtag Mike Z did nothing wrong, and hashtag apologize to Mike Z. There you go.